neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the wills of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the effort of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, shall we turn to item number 4, correction of votes and proceedings and official report. Item number 4, correction of votes and proceedings and official report. Shall we start with correction of votes and proceedings? We begin with page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page number 7. Page number 8. Page number 9. Page 10. Page 11. Page 12. And finally, page 13. Honorable members, in the absence of any corrections, the votes and proceedings of the 9th sitting held yesterday, Wednesday, the 8th June 2022, are adopted as the true records of proceedings. Honorable members, we have 2 reports, which is Tuesday, the 29th March 2022, and Thursday, the 31st March 2022. Tuesday, the 29th March 2022, and Thursday, the 31st March 2022. Honorable members, in reviewing these 2 reports, I have observed that there are some mistakes in the 29th March 2022, and as such, we are not going to review that particular report. We will ask the table to look into it and address that one before we accordingly address it next week. So we will review the 31st March 2022 report. Honorable members, 31st March 2022 report. Yes, Honorable Leader.
Unfortunately, that is not in circulation. I don't know, maybe by now it might be in the pigeonhole, but we don't have it here. So if we could kindly defer that one to the next week, so that we'll do them together.
We don't have the 31st March one.
Yes, I don't have. My usher brought the 29th without the 31st. And most of my colleagues too are saying they don't.
Honorable members, don't you have the 31st March report? Very well. If all of you are saying no, then we will also defer that one. But I want to repeat the 29th one. There are certain mistakes, so with that one, we are putting it aside. But the 31st March, members are saying they don't have copies of the report. So we are deferring that one as well. Leadership, is business statement ready? Is business statement ready? Very well.
Speaker, I, with respect, seek your leave for us to vary the order of business. Speaker, I come under Order 132 with respect to withdraw the Ghana Standard Authority Bill 2021, which was laid on the 12th November 2021. I so withdraw, Speaker, and the reasons are that there are some technical defects which have been detected, and that has come as a reason for us to do the withdrawals. So I'm seeking your leave.
Mr. Speaker, first one to the leave, Mr. Speaker, first one to the leave application by the Honorable Chief Whip. The actual motion for withdrawal is going to be taken by the Minister of Health with your leave, sir. Because he made an application for leave for withdrawal. He didn't intend to withdraw it himself. Our rules are clear. Withdrawal can only be made by a minister. And there are experts in this house who will not compromise on it. So, Mr. Speaker, that is the case, sir.
Very well. So now can you hear the minister?
Mr. Speaker, as it pleases you.
Well, so let me hear the minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm coming on the standing order 132 to withdraw the Ghana Standard Authority Bill 2021, which was laid in the chamber on the 12th of November 2021. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well, honorable members, leave granted and withdrawn. Referral that was made to the committee is equally withdrawn. Very well. So, leadership, let's hear you. Should we go to the questions or?
Speaker, we will continue and again, with your leave, for the bill to be laid by, again, the new bill to be laid again by the Deputy Minister of Health. With your leave.
But
the Minister for Health.
wait. Honourable members, shall we now turn to page number 6, item number 9, presentation and first reading of bills. The Minister. Is the Minister of Trade here?
An act to establish the Ghana Standards Authority, amend and consolidate the new relating
Table. I'm asking whether the Minister of Trade is here. Let me be clear as to who is actually.
Mr. Speaker, the leave application earlier made, which application you granted, was consequential. It was an all-inclusive application. But for the avoidance of doubt, Mr. Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, and for our records, I rise to apply again for leave for the Minister of Health to proceed to do the needful on behalf of the Minister of Trade. Mr. Speaker, if it so pleases you.
Well, the leave granted once again. Now the Minister can take the floor.
An act to establish the Ghana Standards Authority, amend and consolidate the law relating to standardization, conformity assessment, and metrology, and to provide for related matters.
Yes. Honourable members, the bill is duly laid and is referred to the Trade and Industry Committee for consideration and report. Yes.
Speaker, based on earlier discussions we had, we will seek your leave again for the order of questions to be varied. For us to begin with the Minister of Health on questions time. And that starts from question 174 on page 4, Speaker.
If I don't pay my
Honourable members, let's turn to page number 4, item 174. That is a question from our brother, Honourable Member for Bungu, to the Minister for Health. Honourable Minister, may you take your seat?
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Minister is coming forward to do the needful. So if you may indulge him some few minutes. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister, are you ready? Honorable Minister, are you ready? We should start with 449. Very well. So, honorable members, let's turn to page number 4, question number 449. Question number 449. The question stands in the name of a member for Medina. Honorable Francis Xavier Kojososu. Again, we will adhere to what we did yesterday. If the owner of the question is not available, we will ask a member to read the question. The minister will respond, but we are not going to allow any supplementary questions. Is that okay to all of us? Very well. Honorable member for Qatar, you may read the question on behalf of our brother.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for help. The specific measures the ministry is putting in place to complete and fully operationalize the Kekele Hospital.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Kekele Hospital was started by the Municipal Assembly about 10 years ago. The project, however, stalled due to erratic flow of funds, and the building has since been uncompleted. Mr. Speaker, the ministry hereby that the Assembly reviews the contract conditions for reactivation. Further to this, an assessment of the level of completion is also needed to determine means and cost of completing the project. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. So we'll move to question number 567. Question number 567. The question stands in the name of a member for Sisala West. Honorable Adam Muhammad Saparu. Honorable Muhammad Saparu Adam. Honorable.
Right, Honorable Speaker, he
Hope you are
asked
not
me to...
Honorable Member for Sisara West.
Yes.
I know you to be is it Wa West?
Wa West, correct.
Yes.
My colleague asked me to, with your leave, read the question on his behalf.
Very well.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
So let's hear you.
I rise to ask the Minister for Health when the health centers in the following communities will be upgraded to polyclinics. 1. Fielmoa. 2. Zini. 3. Jafisi. And the last one is Jawia. Thank you. Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, currently the areas listed in the question have not been captured in our 2022 plans and budgets for an upgrade to polyclinic status. We will, however, do an assessment based on their requests and evaluate them individually for consideration and budgeting in the ensuing year's budgets. Mr. Speaker, our ability to implement this will largely depend on the quantum of budgetary allocation to the ministry in subsequent years. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. We will now move to question number 569. 569. And the question stands in the name of a member for Atebubu Amantin. Atebubu Amantin, Honorable Sanja Nanja. Honorable, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to ask the Minister for Health if the ministry has any plans of upgrading Amantin Health Center to a polyclinic.
The same answer.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, due to the proximity of Amantin to Edra, Kasei, and Atebu, which have standard health facilities, the Amantin Polyclinic has actually not been earmarked for upgrading in our 2023 capital investment plan and our current budget for an upgrade. We will, however, liaise with the Ghana Health Service to carry out an assessment based on this request and evaluate the facility for consideration and budgeting in the ensuing year's budget. Mr. Speaker, once again, our ability to implement this will largely depend on the quantum of budgetary allocation to the ministry in subsequent years' budgets. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Nanja, any supplementary question?
Mr. Speaker, let me correct this because the records. Amantin is currently a clinic and not a polyclinic, as stated. It's a health center and not a polyclinic, as stated in his minister's answers. So maybe it can be corrected. Then I want to find out from the minister availability of funds, population size, and proximity. Which of these is a major determinant factor for allocating or upgrading a health facility?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just let me thank my colleague for correcting the polyclinic issue to the health center. Just I believe my colleague is aware that I have actually visited that health center since I became a Minister for Health, and I know exactly what's there. Upgrading a health center to polyclinic takes some parameters into consideration, like you mentioned, population of the area, distance from a bigger facility, either a polyclinic or a health center. Then we look at OPD attendance in that particular facility. If the numbers are very large and the health center cannot contain, then we begin to have find plans to seek for allocation from the budget to be able to actually upgrade that place. That is why in my answer I'm asking that we will request Ghana Health Service to go and do an assessment. And if they come with the recommendation that that place is upgrading, we will seriously begin to look for funding to see how best we can upgrade the place. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, are you okay?
Mr. Speaker, how soon will this assessment be conducted? Because there's actually pressure on the health facility, the health center.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Will my colleague please address the Speaker? Mr. Speaker, how soon has two elements in it? The Ministry's request to Ghana Health Service is within the Minister's control, and that I can easily predict when that can be done. And that will be as soon as possible. I'm quoting from my colleague close here when he whispered into my ears. My very good friend. So we'll do that as early as next week, and then the other activity will be Ghana Health Service availability to do the assessment. And it will be difficult for me now on the chamber to respond to that. But I'll talk to you the corridors, and I'll see how best we can get that thing done in a very good time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Can we now turn to question number 737? 737. The question stands the name of a member for NABDA, Honorable Dr. Mark Ketnawani. Is not here.
Mr. Speaker, I seek your leave to ask this question on his behalf.
Leave granted.
Good. So 7-3. I rise to ask the Minister for Health, what is the status of the construction of the district hospital in the Northern District in line with Agenda 111? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to herald the commencement of works on the Agenda 111 project, sword was cut on Tuesday, August 17, 2021 at the Chumapa District of the Ashanti region for works to commence on all district hospitals, including Namdam district, under the project. All preparatory works towards commencement of works have been completed, and contractor has mobilized to site since November 2021. However, the Nangodi, that is the Namdam district site, had challenges such as high voltage pylons running through the site and the terrain of the land with the land. In view of this, the site had to be changed together with site layout, survey topography data, grading plan, among others. These data were made available to the contractor to enable him commence work on the site. Mr. Speaker, the contractor is currently on site and has started setting up site office, hoarding, and foundation. The excavation works for the administration block, outpatient department, pharmacy, labs and diagnosis, etc., have been completed. Mr. Speaker, there have been delays and the contractor is behind schedule. However, steps are being taken by the site supervising consultants to redeem the situation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, honorable members, shall we turn to question 739? 739. And it stands the name of my brother Andrew Dari Chiwite member for Sola Tuna Kalba. Sola Tuna Kalba. Name. You may now ask your question.
Mr. Speaker, I'm most grateful for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I asked for permission to make you aware that I filed 2 questions to the minister on the same day. The agenda captured both questions. This one as 739 and the other one 734. Mr. Speaker, my concern is that the second question asking the minister to tell me the progress of work on a chest compound that was 90% complete in 2016. That question is missing. So I please ask you to direct the office.
Honorable member, your question that has been advertised is what we are asking you to ask. So if you are not interested to ask the question that has been advertised, then it's a...
Mr. Speaker, I'm most grateful. I rise to ask the Minister for Health if there are plans by the government to rehabilitate the Gindabo Health Center, which is in a very deplorable state currently. Thank you.
Honorable Leader, let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, let's hear you.
I humbly beg of you, the earlier statement he made, which he knows, is not part of the question. He said it into the records. I would humbly request of my honorable colleague to withdraw that aspect of the earlier submission so that it is completely out of our records. No. Mr. Speaker, I beg of you, it is only you who can direct him, not me. I can only apply. But that is what must be done. Mr. Speaker, that is what must be done. And that is the truth.
Leader, is it an offensive? I am thinking that he thought his original question has not been, he was just raising a, so I don't think it's anything that he should take it. So honorable member, you may repeat your question.
I'm most grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Health if there are plans by the government to rehabilitate the Gindabo Health Center, which is in a very deplorable state currently. Thank you.
Respectful Honorable Minister, you may now answer the question.
Mr. Speaker.
Question that is 739.
Currently, the Gindabo Health Center has not been captured in our 2022 plans and budgets for any rehabilitation works. However, our checks with the District Assembly indicated that the facility has been captured for renovation works to be carried out. The Ministry, together with the Ghana Health Service, will also do an assessment based on this information and evaluate the facility for consideration, and also liaise with the District Assembly for possible completion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member for Sola, do you have any supplementary question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my checks with the Assembly this morning indicates that the Gindabo Health Center has not been captured in their plans. So my question is, what kind of assurance can the minister give me? Because the Assembly has not captured it. I spoke with the DCD, I spoke with the Assembly member for the area, and it is clear that Sola Tuna Kalba District Assembly has not captured Gindabo Health Center in their plans. So the minister should kindly give me some assurance, please.
So what is the question?
The question is, I want the minister to give me an assurance that he is going to liaise with the Assembly, because the statement here says he has checked with the assembly, and the assembly also says they have not captured it. So, how will the minister assure me that government is going to attend to the health center in Gindabor? Thank you.
Minister, give him assurance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the assurance is in the second paragraph, as has been published in the answer. The Ministry and Ghana Health Service will liaise with the Assembly. So whether it has been captured or not, when we go to do the assessments, it will give us guidance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the minister's answer just tells me that he did not do any consultation with the Assembly. And so, Mr. Speaker...
Honorable member, you cannot jump into that conclusion. Your previous question was that he should give you assurance. Right? He has assured you. So if you don't have any further question, then you move to... Hold on. Yes, Honorable Leader, do you have something?
Right, Honorable Speaker. I'm surprised at Honorable colleague. He is supposed to be a member of the Assembly. And he, together with the MCE, are to decide on the projects for the constituency. I'm surprised he's supposed to do that with the Assembly. He's a member, aren't you a member? Well, that is what I do. You are a member, aren't you?
Honorable members, the issues have already been addressed, so don't worry. Yes, Honorable member, did you ask another question?
I have another question.
He has 5 more questions to ask.
I have a question, please, Mr. Speaker.
Your final question, please.
Mr. Speaker, in the minister's view, doesn't it think that some of the COVID fund could have been used to rehabilitate some of these health centers? Does he not think that some of the COVID fund could have been used to rehabilitate health centers? Thank you.
Honorable member, the question is not admissible. I wouldn't admit this particular question.
Mr. Speaker, when you announced the honorable member's name and gave him that privilege to ask his question, you said, my brother, my namesake. Mr. Speaker, I am tempted to believe that he is taking advantage of that esprit de corps between you and him to do his own thing. Mr. Speaker, bring him to order. Hence, I would also look for Andrew and add to my name to have this unfettered access.
My brother has been brought to book, so don't worry. So we move to question number 886. 886. Is my brother Ejapamesa here? The question stands in the name of a member for seconding, Honorable Andrew Kofi Ejapamesa. Yes, you are asking the question on his behalf.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. I rise on order 68.3 to seek your leave to ask a question on behalf of my colleague who is also attending some important issues.
You see, he's also my name. He's also Andrew.
So if you leave, Mr. Speaker, I wish to ask the Minister of Health the step taken to implement the Agenda 111 policy initiated by His Excellency the President towards redevelopment of Ifuan Kwanta and the construction of an additional regional hospital to serve as referral facility for major health emergencies in view of the recent explosion that occurred at Apiati in the Western region. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Ministry has concluded all contractual arrangements for the construction of the Agunan Kwanta Hospital, as well as the redevelopment of the Ifian Kwanta Hospital. The contractor is mobilizing to site, and works are expected to commence by end of the second quarter of the year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. We move to question. Minister, Honorable Member for Okaikwe Central, he was speaking to somebody, yet he is saying he didn't hear your answer.
Mr. Speaker, I'm afraid that might not be the case. I have sat here before, and our system here, if you are sitting here, anybody who stands here to speak is not properly, very efficiently heard by those of us who sit here. So I was here some time back, right? So his comment is quite right.
So then repeat it.
And I'm ready to try to repeat the answer. He doesn't want to read. He doesn't want to read. He wants to listen to my voice. A very shrill voice. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry has concluded all contractual arrangements for the construction of the Agunan Kwanta Hospital, as well as the redevelopment of the Ifian Kwanta Hospital. The contractor is mobilizing to site, and works are expected to commence by end of second quarter of the year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You don't have the opportunity to ask any supplementary question. No. No. We move to Eurocrobo. Honorable Abet Tete Nyakuti, question number 1025.
Yeah.
Question number 1025. Eurocrobo. Honorable, you have the floor now.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. This question was filed.
Honorable members, order, please.
Mr. Speaker, this question was filed on the 11th of February this year. So there have been some developments, but I'll go ahead to ask the Minister for Health.
Honorable member, you asked the question 11th of April, and this is the time that the answer is available. So okay. I don't see the need of going back to, I asked the question, please.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I'll go ahead to ask the Minister for Health when the completed Somania District Hospital in the Eurocrobo constituency will be operationalized.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I very quite well remember this question has been answered here in the chamber. My colleague is aware. The good news is that the hospital has started operating as I speak now. So the DCE has been very helpful, and we've got all the challenges resolved, so they are now operating the facility. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to ask the Health Minister when support staff will be provided for the hospital to enable the hospital to operate smoothly.
Yes, Minister.
Fully.
Mr. Speaker, we have a skeleton staff that is supporting them now. A full complement of staffing will be made going forward into the future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Are you okay?
Thank you very much.
Very well. So we now move to Menchia North. Honorable Akwesi Kunedu. Question number 1026. Question number 1026.
Mr. Speaker, with your leave, I will do so on behalf of MP for Menchia North.
Very well. Let's hear you.
I rise to ask the Minister for Health what benefits have been realized from the hospital construction agreement with Eurojet, the Invest Group And when will all projects be expected to fully materialize? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, some of the benefits accrued from the Eurojet Invest projects include serving the people of Ghana with improved quality health care, significantly providing employment in the various regions, and also offering easy access to healthcare facility within the jurisdiction. Mr. Speaker, the Ghana East Hospital served as the major management center for COVID-19 during early stages of the COVID-19 breakout. Similarly, the Wa Hospital supported with the critically ill patients in the Upper West region and surrounding regions. Additionally, in Sawam, Pifopraso and Tepa. So, Speaker, I want to make a correction. The word is on Sawam is in Soko, Pifopraso and Tepa are completed and providing quality care to the people within their immediate environs. Mr. Speaker, the projects comprise of the construction of 8 number hospitals, comprising of 2 regional hospitals and 6 district hospitals. 1 regional hospital in Wa, 1 district hospital in Ghana East have been completed, and in use since 2019 and serving the people in the various regions. 3 district hospitals in Isoko, Pifopraso and Tepa have also been completed and operationalized since the end of 2020 to serve the catchment populations of the sites. A regional hospital in Kumasi and 1 district hospital in Konongo have been completed and are awaiting testing and commissioning for use. As it stands, the remaining hospital at Salaga is scheduled to be completed by the first quarter of 2023. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Now we move to question number 1027. And the question stands in the name of Honorable Michael Ocheribefi, a member for New Drabin South.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable,
I wish to ask the question.
the mic is there?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's hear you.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to ask the Minister for Health the extent of progress on the construction of the 600-bed regional hospital in the new Drabin area. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, currently the substructure works and mechanical, electrical, plumbing, first fixings are ongoing steadily at 91% and 60% complete, respectively. The overall progress of works stands at 35%, which is consistent with the program of work as agreed. The entire project is on schedule, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, are you having the answer to question number 174? Bungu, do you have that question answer?
No, Mr. Speaker, but I notified the table office that that question has actually been answered some time back. But if it comes out and is published, I will come and answer that one as well.
But the minister, the owner of the question is saying...
The owner is here?
Yes. Hold on, let me... So, Honorable Edward, I think you have to reschedule. Because the answer is not here, unless you are prepared to take...
No, but Mr. Speaker, I said I want to register some protest on this issue. In the last sitting that we had, I was called by the table office that they had got a response, and that the ministry had indicated that the response they had got for my question was not the right response, and therefore, even though it had been scheduled, they withdrew the response. The second time, they called me again, the table office, and told me that the minister was not going to be around. Indeed, that day, the minister sat in the chamber here for the whole proceedings. Meanwhile, I was told that he was not going to be around. Today, The question has been scheduled, and there's no response to it, a written response to it on the what do you call it, on the other paper. And now you have the minister sitting down here and telling us that that thing had been answered some time back. I mean, I don't know what is the deliberate action from the ministry or wherever it is coming from to refuse this particular question from being answered.
Honourable member, we will address the issue. I think now that has come to the fore, we will look at it and reschedule your answers. So, table, please take note of it. And Minister, it's okay. You don't need. Minister, on behalf of the House, let me thank you for attending upon the House to answer nine separate questions. I think you've done well. We wish you well, and you are hereby discharged. May I now invite the Minister for Fisheries. Honourable members, the Minister for Fisheries is here, and the first question that will be posed to her stands in the name of a member for Karachi East, Honourable Wisdom Gidisu. Honourable Wisdom, you may ask your question now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise as the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development. What steps the ministry is taking to ensure regular supply of premise fuel to fisher folks in Karachi's constituency to avoid long queues at the selling points. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Respectfully, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I respond, I would want to plead that there has been a slight change in the response. So I want to draw your attention. Thank you so much. Mr. Speaker, the Landing Beach Committee at Karachi East serves several adjoining communities from where fishermen access premise fuel for their operations. It is observed that the rush for the products by fishermen, especially on market days, results in long queues, which may not be due to shortages. It is important to note that since March 2022, premise fuel supply has been irregular. The ministry is working closely with the relevant stakeholders to available quantities of premise fuel are equitably distributed to landing beaches to mitigate the impact of the shortages experienced. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honourable Wisdom, any supplementary question?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for this answer. But since this is House of Records, also want to put on record that the impression that the premium fuels, the long queues and rushes come only on market days is not correct. As I speak now, if a tanker gets to the constituency now, there will be a rush for it. Today is not a market day. So the impression that it's only on market days, I want to put on record that, Honourable Minister, this is not correct. And I also want to find out from the Minister whether in his own view, if the supply is constant or regular, would there be queues and probably queues and shortages with regards to the sales of the product.
Minister, did you get the question? Or I should ask him to repeat. Honorable member, please. See, at times that's the issue of if we prefix our question with a lot of grammar. So just go straight.
Thank you, Mr.
forward
Speaker.
into the question.
In her view, she stated here clearly that the supply, the shortage or the long queue and the rush is not has to do with it's the shortage of the product. And I'm saying that if the supply is constant and regular, would there be queues? Would there be rush for the product?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my colleague is saying it's not because of the queue or rush from other fishermen who also benefit. But that is what our investigation has given us. But I also want to assure him that, yes, when we say the fuel is not regular, we said since March it has not been irregular. And when it becomes regular, there will not be any shortage. And that is the assurance I gave you. When it is regular, there will be no shortages. Thank you.
Yes, honorable member.
Thank you. I also want to put on record that, or to inform the minister, that the last time that premise fuel got to the commission was on the 18th. And before that, that was sponsored somewhere in March 18th of May. Barely a month. And before that, it was only over 1 month. So, when I say it was not regular, that was also a fact. And he also attested to the fact that before March.
Honorable Wisdom, question.
Yes, sir.
Question.
I want to find out from the honorable minister whether he's aware, she's very much aware, that people whose works are not related to fishing and probably farming, when the product arrives, buy this product, large quantities, stock the product, and resell at 400%. Some even buy at 60 Ghana cedis, just like the standard price, and resell at say 200 to 250 Ghana cedis. If she's aware about what measure is she putting in place to curb the situation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So your question is to find out whether she is aware.
Aware. The measure she's putting in place to stop this practice.
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I must be honest with my colleague that yes, I'm aware of this situation. And because of that, government is making everything possible to stop it. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable, your last question.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. The minister said his ministry is working with TOR to ensure regular supplies. I want to find out from him when will the ministry finalize with these discussions with TOR people to ensure the regular supply of the premise food, because it is an issue that we have to deal with. It cut across Karachi West, Karachi Tumbru, Karachi East, along the Volta Lake. It is serious. And she is aware. I'm happy to say she's even aware about this. So I want to know when will you finalize your discussion with TOR to ensure the regular supply of the product. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I confirm that we are aware of the irregularities, we are also in discussion with stakeholders, which TOR is also part of. They are all part of the stakeholders. And I believe very soon we'll come to a conclusion. And then the product will be available for every fisherman to do his or her fishing activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We move to, you are police is at Bungu, and you are We move to question number 749. Question number 749. Honorable Member for Upper Menyakrobo. Honorable Bismarck Tetenyaku. Honorable, we may ask your question now.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Speaker, permit me to ask the Honorable Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, what steps are being taken to supply enough premix for to the fishers at Akaten and other communities in Upper Manyakrobo constituency? Thank you, Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister, the same premise.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to inform this august House that plans are far advanced to install automated premix fuel dispensing units across landing beaches as part of measures to enhance services delivery and safety. Operators at the automated facilities will sell to fishers who have smart cards to access the pumps. This will weed out smugglers and hoarding activities and enhance fishers' access to the fuel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member, any further questions?
Yes, Speaker. Speaker, I want to ask my honorable colleague that as part of the plans that are far advanced, will you mind increasing the selling point from 5 to the original 11 as of 2018? Originally, we had 11 selling points. As of 2019 have been reduced to 5. And my check shows that that also contributed to the smuggling and then the shortage at the ponds. The question again is whether you will be minded to increase the selling points from 5 to 11.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as we speak now, we don't even know the number of fishers who draw this fuel. And so when it is automated, it will give us, it will inform us. And when it gives us the information and we realize that the 5 delivering points is not enough, the ministry and the agency will not hesitate to increase the numbers. Thank you.
Very well. So we move to... Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister has addressed an important question regarding this premix fuel matter. Is she able to tell us the policies that she has put in place so far to reduce the smuggling? Because so far we've heard a lot of the reduction in the smuggling of fuel. What has...
Honorable members, you don't ask me to stop the leader. Honorable members, you don't force me to stop the leader. The leaders, even yesterday, the leaders were given the opportunities that they can ask supplementary questions. So, Honorable, I'm not going to give you the opportunity to speak. So, leader, have you finished your question? Yes. Honorable Minister, you finish. Okay, let's hear you.
Mr. Speaker, the minister in her answer gives a clear impression of an efficiency in the delivery of premix. I would like to know from the minister what steps she is taking to reduce the smuggling, because it's obvious that it has really gone down. We want to know from her what she has done so far in ensuring that this has been achieved. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister, you may answer the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As my honorable colleague asked his question, that people are smuggling and hoarding, and what are we doing? I made mention that we're doing installation. And this installation, one will ask that are we saying all this while we've not been monitoring the supply of the premix fuel? Yes, but it isn't efficient. And so now we're coming in with a more efficient one. That when I'm even in the office, I can read the truck that is loading from shore to the landing beach and the quantity that will be in the drum or the tank. I will know whenever a fisherman draws a premix fuel from the dispensing, it will inform me. And so we are going to do the automation, which will be the magic for eradicating of the smuggling and then the hoarding. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable Member, why? What? Come again?
I have a follow-up question.
No, you don't have that. We move to you upperward. You have a water fisheries.
Mr. Speaker, I'm the deputy ranking to the committee. I have a follow-up question.
No problem. No problem. You don't have that mandate. So we move to question number 909. 909. And it stands the name of Saudai. Honorable Roxanne Nelson Kwame Dafiamapo. That's why I couldn't pronounce it.
Mr. Speaker, may you live long.
Honorable, you may ask your question. Please, let's have order in the house, please.
Mr. Speaker, may I seek your leave to amend a portion of the name of the town in the question? It's actually spelled Tango Sarah Alpha Nancy Alpha Kilo Papa Echo, and that is Chanakwe. So it is not Bawakwe. It is Tango Sarah Alpha Nancy Alpha Kilo Papa Echo. Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development what steps the ministry is taking to establish an aquaculture and fish farm in Tongochanakwe in Southern District. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, since the colleague honorable member has corrected the name of the town, when I get there, I wouldn't want to repeat the wrong name that has been inserted here. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development is implementing the Aquaculture for Food and Jobs program, under which educational and security institutions...
Honorable members, there's so much noise in the house. Please. Honorable Bongo.
Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development is implementing the Aquaculture for Food and Jobs program, under which educational and security institutions, distressed fish farmers, and youth groups are supported to establish and operate aquaculture farms. The ministry will advise that any interested youth group in Tongo should contact the Regional Fisheries Office in Ho for the application procedure and other formalities. On approval, officers will conduct an inspection of the proposed site to determine the appropriate holding facility. Fishing input support, like fingerlings and fish feed and extension officers, will be given. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Yes. I shouldn't allow him any further question.
Mr. Speaker, a very friendly follow-up question. Mr. Speaker, the Minister informed the House that youth groups, I want to find out if individuals who are interested and are capable of maintaining some of these farms could also be beneficiaries of the program. Youth groups. So I want to ask if individuals like myself, if I could, if you want to apply, an individual can benefit under the program. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister. What's your problem?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, we said institutions and youth groups or any other groups, but individuals are also encouraged to do it, because the thinking is that when individuals also do, you have also a way of employing other people. So individuals are encouraged to take up. Thank you.
Oh, I thought your friend has asked you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I just want to commend the Honorable Minister. For we had premixed issues recently, but her intervention has encouraged the regular supply of premix to my area. So I want to thank her. We are grateful.
See, he's a practical minister, eh?
And the Arnold Motors, we are so grateful. But we need more for my people in Germany and Agorake and Chanakwe.
Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we have to complement each other. And I am happy that my good friend has said right here in this house that this government is not discriminatory. That the Agbo Motors came and it was not shared in MPP strongholds, but he got such a quantity and he himself did not hide them, but he showed them openly. And today, I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, that he is commending the minister for ensuring that his people, the people of the Volta region, the people of his constituency, the fishermen in Volta region benefited from the Agbo Motors that the government imported. This testimony must reflect in the records and reflect so properly. And I thank him for doing that. Honorable Minister, you have done well, proving that this government is a government for all. Thank you so much.
Yes, Honorable Leader. I'm dealing with you.
Mr. Speaker, as he compliments the minister, we thank the minister for doing that. But at the same time, Honorable Shariaite did same for him in his constituency, and he sent plenty of Agbo Motor to his constituency to convince the people to vote for him. So Mahama did well, Nanatu has done well. So same.
No problem. That is good governance.
Mr. Speaker, I need to respond to her.
Oh no,
Mr. Speaker, that is true. Mr. Speaker, I'm confirming Mr. Speaker, I'm confirming what she said, that is true. And I said it right here in this parliament, that Honorable Sherry Aite, in distributing the Agbo motors, brought some to Ifutu. I got it. And yes, gave it to me. I said it for the record. Mr. Speaker, that was done. And there's no doubt. And I'm also saying that Akufo-Addo government has not abandoned the people of Volta region. The fishermen are benefiting. So there's no problem.
No problem. Honorable Bodu.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable, are you a leader?
The deputy majority leader.
No. Honorable, I was giving the opportunity to only leaders. You are not a leader. No. Honorable Bodo, senior, respectfully, let's move on.
I will do what?
Let's move on. Take your seat, let's move on. So we move to question number 968. 968. And the question stands in the name of a member for Pru East. Pru East. Honorable Dr. Kwabena. Yes, my brother.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I have the permission of my senior colleague, Honorable Dr. Kwabena, to ask this particular question on his behalf.
Your leave granted.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development what policy initiatives are in place to develop and modernize fishing practices on the Volta Lake. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Ministry, through the Fisheries Commission, is currently undertaking a canoe freight survey to register operational canoes and issue canoe identification cards. The co-management policy for the fisheries sector would also be implemented across inland fishing communities around the Volta Lake as part of measures to enhance fisheries management among resource users. The Fisheries Scientific Survey Division is leading activities for inland fisheries data collection for policy decisions. The Ministry will soon establish a monitoring, control and surveillance center at the Kwando Toko to enforce compliance with fisheries regulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We now take the last question from Karachi East again. Honorable Wisdom Gidisu. Yes, Honorable. Let's hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development what steps the Ministry is taking to supply fishing nets and outboard motors to fisher folks in Karachi constituency at subsidized prices. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, fishers from the Karachi East constituency will benefit from sharing nets under the Fishing Input Support Scheme to provide access to authorized inputs for sustainable fisheries. It is noted that fishers in the Karachi East constituency applied and received 20 units of 40 horsepower outboard motors through the Member of Parliament in 2020. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the Minister for this assurance. But also like to find out from her when specifically should the people crash it if we expecting these things, whether next year or this year, or it has been captured in the budget, because it's key to them, and they are so dead in need of this inputs. So I want to know, when should they be expecting this? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The assurance I want to give to my colleague member is that we will be observing the closed season next month. And so we're going to start the sensitization. And as we start the sensitization, we'll roll out the distribution of all these inputs which are already in my possession. Thank you.
Well.
The last one.
Wisdom.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The last one.
Okay.
We also want to thank her for this too, but we also like to know the criteria the ministry is using for this supply, whether the group should apply or the interval that they should apply, number of people in a group, how often these things will be released. I want to know the criteria. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, every fishing community or landing beach has a chief fisherman. And so we are working closely with the chief fishermen to get us the list of members of the community. And it is based on that we are going to do the distribution, since we don't know them directly. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable Minister, on behalf of the House, I'd like to thank you. You have attended upon the House to answer 5 separate questions from members. We wish you well in your ministry. You are hereby discharged. Yes. Honourable Member, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The first 3 questions on today's order paper stand in my name, and the minister responsible for trade was supposed to come here and answer those questions. Mr. Speaker, I want to make reference to our standing orders 63, and with your permission, I want to read. A minister shall not take more than 3 weeks to respond to a question from the House. These questions appeared at the last meeting, and at the beginning of this meeting, this is the second time these questions appeared again. Yet the minister is not here to respond to the questions. I want to draw your attention to this important issue, because if we ourselves do not respect our standing orders, this is the kind of situation we find ourselves in. And so,
You want to know why?
I want to find out why
Because you have not been written to.
the minister failed to appear to answer these very important questions. The Minister of Trade and Industry in particular. And to also find out whether provision will be made for these questions to be answered in the coming week. Thank you.
Very well. Honourable Member, I believe our standing order 63, which is enjoining a minister not to take more than 3 weeks to respond to a question from a member, I think will be in reference to a situation whereby you don't hear anything from the minister. But if the minister, for whatever reason, has written to the House, that due to unforeseen circumstances, he may not be able to respond to it, then I think this particular order we are raising may not suffice. In any case, my understanding is that the minister has written to the House, has written to both caucuses, the minority caucus and the majority caucus, as well as the table, that is unavoidably engaged somewhere and as such may not be able to come to the House to respond to your questions. I believe the leadership and table will rearrange an appropriate time for him to come and respond to the questions. So at this time, we may turn back to our order paper, item number 5. Item number 5. As we announced here yesterday that tomorrow we may not be sitting, we are therefore taking the business statement for the ensuing week, that is next week. We are taking it today. So may I respectfully invite the deputy leader, who is now the acting leader, to present the business statement for the ensuing week.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this treasure space to present to the plenary the work of your committee, which outlines the
Honourable member
for the ensuing week. The Speaker, it has, as you have rightly announced, it has become necessary for this to be done today because of your announcement of yesterday. And again, also, just for the records, I stand in for the chair of the committee, who is the majority leader and Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, because he is unavoidably absent, engaged in some parliamentary business outside of the jurisdiction. And I thank you most exceedingly for the leave granted to proceed to do this in his stead. The Speaker, and again by way of education, this business statement is for the second meeting of the second session of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic, and it is also for the 4th week ending Friday, 17th of June 2022. Mr. Speaker, the report having been printed and circulated, I deem it that members have duly read. I therefore shall rely on the entire content without more and pray that the usual practice of members making contributions be granted by you, and soon thereafter, Mr. Speaker, you take a decision for the adoption of the report. Suffice to state that this is one of the motions where there is no such requirement under our rules for a member to second. I so move, and I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, our leader has presented the business statement to all of us. So, as he said, he believed everybody has read, and therefore if there's any issue a member has noticed, or if there's any member who has any concerns, he can also raise it for the hearing of all of us. So, Honourable Member Fadaku.
Right, Honourable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity, and we thank my very good friend, the respected Deputy Leader, for a very brief presentation of the business statement. Mr. Speaker, on the second page, the second page of the business statement, I'm happy to see the business committee has scheduled the finance minister to be here to talk about expenditures incurred by government in relation to the COVID outbreak. Mr. Speaker, whilst the minister is here, I implore the business committee and yourself to direct that whilst the finance minister is here, I would request that the very sensitive issue about government expenditure on the National Cathedral, of which has been in public domain, and payments made from the public coffers. Mr. Speaker, I believe it will be in the interest of this country for the finance minister to brief the House as well as to the circumstances leading to those expenditures, partly because it is believed that the expenditure perhaps may be out of what the Public Procurement and the Public Financial Management Act requires. For instance, Mr. Speaker, the consultant, as we know, just got inducted into the Ghana Institute of Architects last month, yet he was paid in 2020 for being the consultant to the National Cathedral. Mr. Speaker, this House passed the Public Financial Management Act and the Public Procurement Act. So if public funds are being doled out to an entity...
Honourable Member.
Mr. Speaker.
I don't know, but why then wouldn't you put a question for the minister to come and address all these areas? Because the minister will be here next week. From what I've seen, he is coming to answer the 16 questions. So if 16 questions do not cover this area, I don't think to be fair for him to jump into that area. So if you think you need a minister to answer that particular question, you can file a question to that, so that he will come here and address the nation.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. It's on record that the minister with the least potential to answer questions of members of parliament in the finance minister.
No.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with you. He's not answering. This one, he's been scheduled to appear in the House to brief members. It's not a question. So I'm saying that whilst he's here dealing with that, he should act that as so that he prepares before coming. Mr. Speaker, another thing we can do is to file a motion for members for the House to set up a bipartisan committee to do a full-scale investigation. He can choose one of them. Come here and provide the information voluntarily, or we file a motion, invite him and investigate him. So, Mr. Speaker, it's his choice. I think that once he is coming,
very well,
it's up to him to do that.
Very well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The leader is there. Yes, Honourable Member for Bongo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Because next week is COVID stories, because the Minister of Finance will be briefing us on how the COVID funds have been expended. Will the business committee consider also, because part of it had to do, I was looking at even the procurement processes. You know, there was a question today. There was supposed to be a question today on how the PPEs and other things were procured by the Ministry of Finance. Is it possible that you could consider rescheduling that question also, so that at least we discuss it as a whole, because we are going to look at how they have been expended and also the various entities, how they really use the various laws to expend those money. So is it possible that you could reschedule the 174 to next week for us to deal with the COVID issues all together?
Yes, Senior Who Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for your compliments. Originally, there was a plan for certain questions to be answered tomorrow, including one which I filed in connection with some road project in my constituency. But we are not sitting tomorrow, so I was thinking that that would have been, or those questions, set of questions would have been programmed for next week. But I've looked through and none such arrangement is being made. That is the first one. The second issue has to do with the question that I filed long ago with regards. Oh, the speaker is not. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying that the second issue is that I filed a question on the District Assembly's Common Fund for the Minister for Finance to come and answer on this floor. But I've seen that for Thursday, next week, he is coming here. That question is not included in those that he is coming to address on Thursday. I want to find out why, and if they can reprogram it so that that question will also be added to the set that is coming to respond to on Thursday next week.
Very well. I hope you are taking note of them. Okay. Let me take two, then you come in. Let me give the lady opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I hold 2 copies of the business statement. I hold the copy for this week and the copy for next week. And on the business statement for this week, on page 8, I have a very important question listed for Minister for Roads and Highways. Mr. Speaker, this question about the nature of the roads in my constituency touches the very lives of the people in my constituency. And it's been in this state for God knows how long. All attempts to get some answers to why the roads are in the state that they are is proving difficult. I've been informed that we are not sitting tomorrow. Otherwise, this question is supposed to be answered tomorrow. Now, it's curious that I can't find it on next week's business statement, although the Minister for Roads and Highways is billed to come here and answer the 8 questions. Mr. Speaker, once these things happen, you lose track of where the question is and when next it will appear on the order paper. I want to find out whether there is any particular reason why, although the minister is coming next week to answer questions, my question didn't make it to next week's order paper. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So your issue is almost the same as whole central. So let's hear, then you come to you. Yes.
Thank you,
Mr.
Speaker, I think I just spoke about my 3 questions that were supposed to be answered by the Minister of Trade today. And he couldn't come. If given reasons why he couldn't come, I'm told there's a letter, I'm here to see the letter. But one would have thought that at least next week, these questions will be programmed for me to engage in. Conspicuously missing, they are not found in this next week's business statement. I want to appeal to leadership if they can find a way, space in the business statement for next week so that we'll get the answers from the hardworking Minister of Trade and Industry. And the incoming flag bearer for him.
Yes, respectful leader, may you respond to them.
Mr. Speaker, normally when you go to court and you want to prove that you are a good lawyer, the judges make it difficult for you to get bail for your client. But when you are on bended knees and you are doing my lord, you don't even finish and bail is granted. Mr. Speaker, let me underscore, assure my respected colleague from Bole Bamboy, the mode of application, the tone in itself is compelling enough for the business committee to go the extra mile to ensure that the Minister of Trade comes next week. So arrangement will be made. And my own colleague from Salaga South, the issue you raised, I think that it's a genuine omission that those that have been programmed for tomorrow have been omitted for next week. So we'll liaise with the table office and ensure that all those questions that were to come tomorrow of which the ministers would appear, at least you should add them. So this will be done, and be assured. With respect to Honorable Kodo, I need not emphasize this one more time. If you say you filed a question long ago, again I would invoke the Okujeto Ablaka rule. Follow up. Check the book, the records book, whether Mr. Speaker has at all admitted your question. Because, you see, this creates a certain impression about the table office. And I want us to end this. So please, let's deal with it. Now, on the matter raised by Honorable Kwame Abuja, we all know that on Thursday, the minister is coming here to answer 16 questions. Questions that are coming from members. Questions that border on national issues. To me, if Honorable Kwame Abuja is of the strong view that a matter has come up in the media and it needs the attention of the House, he should file a question and go through the process. But I think that the approach he adopted was inappropriate, because you create a certain impression of the minister, and let's bear in mind that as public officers, all we have is our image. The minister did not go somewhere or hide some payment somewhere, and the issue of National Cathedral is a matter of national policy, no matter how some of us may disagree. So we have to be fair. We have to be fair in how we approach it, so that we don't create a certain impression about the finance minister. That is all I want to say. Maria Bawa, raised a concern. I think this is a matter for corridor solution, so that next week it is dealt with. So be rest assured, we'll deal with it in the corridors and get it reflected for your comfort and pleasure.
On that note, the business statement for the 4th week, which will end 17th June 2022, is hereby adopted. We have some statements.
Mr. Speaker, the day is young, but old enough for members to leave the quarry and engage in some other parliamentary commitments. It is therefore our prayer, Mr. Speaker, that you exercise your mandate to adjourn proceedings for today. No. So it's a prayer. I'm making an application. You will second it. That's why I'm not saying it as discretion. I'm saying it's my prayer. You will second it for me. And you know you will second. Mr. Speaker, it is our prayer that you would grant us this dispensation for an adjournment until we come back on Tuesday. Mr. Speaker, I so pray.
Very well. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we only hope that committees that have outstanding business before them will take advantage of the early adjournment to go and continue work on the referrals. I also want to draw leadership attention that as we start, the Speaker, you can see that they don't seem to have too many business. We hope the intention is not to wait for the last 2 weeks, then they come and heap everything on us and be telling us that there are deadlines, government will lose it, Ghana will lose it. So let us do everything to finish them, where it takes sometimes up to midnight for us to be here. We should think about our health. Now that there's peace, I encourage them to get government business done. But, Mr. Speaker, I agree with him that we should adjourn so that those who may have to travel far will be able to get to their constituency in good time before tomorrow. And committees that have referrals should do well to work on the referrals that have been sent to them. With this, Mr. Speaker, I equally second the motion for adjournment until Tuesday, 10 o'clock in the forum. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, before I put the question, I just want to take this opportunity to remind all of you that, as we said yesterday, tomorrow is a special day assigned for tree planting. And that is why we are not sitting tomorrow. Please, we are going to our constituencies to lead this all-important national assignment. So, adjoining early enough will afford members the opportunity to also travel to our various constituencies. On that note, the motion has already been moved and it has been seconded. I therefore have a singular pleasure to put the question. And the question is, as many as are in favor for the adjournment, say aye. All those against, say no. Honourable members, obviously the ayes have it. The motion is adopted and the House is therefore adjourned to Tuesday, 10 a.m. in the forenoon. The House stands adjourned.